Good morning, students. Welcome to English class. Last day we discussed the first four stanzas of the poem, The Village Blacksmith. And what are the main points we discussed? Okay, the first one, the blacksmith had a smithy under a chestnut tree, and he had very strong muscles, and he was working very hard, and he was very happy and satisfied. He was happy with what he had no complaints, and he could look in the face of people as he didn't owe anything to anyone. And the last answer, we saw the children coming back from school looked in through the open door to see the blacksmith working. They were very interested to see the sparks flying around like chaff from a threshold. Up to that we have completed. So we'll come to the next answer. He goes on Sunday to the church and sits among his boys. He hears the parson pray and preach. He hears his daughter's voice singing in the village choir, and it makes his heart rejoice. So, this stanza is to show that he was a religious and God-fearing person. So, Sundays he spent for prayers. So every Sunday he went to church, and he listened to the priest. The word used here is parson. It is priest. He listened to the prayer and the speech of the priest. And another thing mentioned is that his daughter was a member of the choir, and he was very happy to listen to her songs. And it is mentioned that it makes his heart rejoice. That means he became happy. So mainly two things are mentioned. Every Sunday he went to church and he attended the Holy Mass, all the prayer services there. And the second one, his daughter was a member of the choir, and he was happy to listen to her songs. Then, it sounds to him like her mother's voice singing in paradise. He must think of her once more, how in the grave she lies, and with his hard, rough hand he wipes a tear out of his eyes. So we get the idea about his wife. Actually, what had happened to her? Okay, we get the idea that she was dead, because the line, how in the grave she lies, that means she was died and buried. And while the blacksmith listened to the song of his daughter, he thought of his wife, because his daughter's sound was like his wife's sound. It sounds to him like her mother's voice singing in paradise. That's singing in paradise mentioned because she was dead. He must think of her once more. That means he thought about his wife, and he became very sad. With his heart, rough hand, he wipes a tear out of his eyes. He became very sad and he was crying. So, this stanza gives the idea that he was a loving husband and a loving father. Okay, he had a number of good qualities. He was a loving husband. Toiling, rejoicing, sorrowing, onward through life he goes. Each morning sees some task begin, each evening sees its close. Something attempted, something done has earned a night's repose. So his life is going on. What all words are used there to describe his deeds? Toiling. Toiling means working hard, working, rejoicing, sometimes becoming happy, sorrowing, sometimes becoming sad. Toiling, we know he was working, or while he was working in his workplace in his smithy, rejoicing while he listened to the the sound of his daughter, while he listened to her songs, sorrowing while he thought about his wife. So we know that happiness, sorrow, work, everything is part of one's life. So in the case of this blacksmith also, his life goes on, sometimes working, sometimes becoming happy, sometimes becoming sad, etc. And every day, each morning, sees some task begin, some work begin, and by evening, some task will be completed. Something attempted, something done has earned a night's repose. So he starts a number of works, finishes a number of work, and however, he earned a night's repose. That means repose means he rest. That means he can take rest comfortably during the night time because of the feeling that he had done everything he could. Because in the case of every human being, we know that even though we attempt a number of works, sometimes it won't be possible for us to finish. What is important is that we should attempt. Whether we can complete it successfully, that's a different aspect. The first thing is to attempt something, doing something. Thanks to thee, my worthy friend, for the lesson thou hast taught. Thus at the flaming forge of life, our fortunes must be wrought. Thus on its sounding anvil shaped, each burning deed and thought. And the last stanza, the poet is thanking the blacksmith and he calls him a worthy friend. And why did he call him a worthy friend? Because from this blacksmith, the poet could learn a number of things. What all things he learned? That I think we already got an idea about the lessons that the poet learned from the blacksmith. Mainly, we should be ready to work hard and honestly. We should be satisfied with what we have. And we should be religious. We should be loving to our dear ones. And all these things. Then, what's the lesson that he learned? Thus, at the flaming forge of life, our fortunes must be wrought. The forge of life, it is mentioned. So, while we consider our life, it is something like a forge. So, our fortune, our life, everything should be worked. Everything should be formed according to our deeds. We should be ready to shape or to form our life. Thus, on its sounding anvil shaped each burning deed and thought. We know that in the case of a blacksmith, he is shaping the tools by by keeping it in the fire, by making it hot and beating it, keeping it on an anvil. So we should be ready to work hard, and also we should do our maximum to to form our or to decide our future. If you are not doing any work, if you are not ready to do anything for our life, we cannot be successful. We know that in the case of a blacksmith, he can make a beautiful tool, or he can make a tool after doing a number of works. And for that, we know that in the case of a blacksmith, he keeps the piece of metal, piece of that iron in the burning fire. He blows it and makes the iron hot, and then he shapes it by beating it with a sledge, by keeping it on the anvil and all. So in the case of our life also, we should be ready to change our fortune by our hard work and effort. So this is the lesson that the poet learned from this blacksmith. So that's the poem, The Village Blacksmith. So now read the stanzas very clearly many times and then go through the side questions and complete it. Next day I will send you the notes also. So hope that all of you will complete it and finish all the activities that you are supposed to. Okay, we will stop for today. Thank you.